Welcome back to Ripe Avocados. Today we're going to review The Black Phone 2. I don't actually know who it was directed by, but I think it was the same director as 1. Um, Fact check that for
I
me.
would assume so. Scott Derrickson. Yes, he did do Black Phone.
Okay, so also directed by Scott Derrickson, and we're going to get into it, hear what this thing was about, recap it, and then we will analyze it for you, give it our scores. So let's hear what this thing was about.
Daydream, I fell asleep amid the flowers for a couple of hours on a beautiful day.
So Black Phone 2, it's a straight up sequel to the first one. It jumps in time quite a bit. Finney has grown up as well as his sister, and they're in high school now, and they both still are dealing with the trauma of getting, kidnapped. The sister has crazy dreams. Finney is constantly getting into fights because people egg him on and are like, "Oh, you're the dude that killed the serial killer, huh? Or serial grabber, whatever the fuck." And he just beats the living shit out of them. Beats the shit out of that new kid that comes to his school and tries to talk shit. But the sister keeps having more graphic and intense dreams, and it's in connection with their mother who had the same kind of dreams, and she realizes she needs to go to this Christian camp to solve three missing cases. It's three boys that were taken, and they don't know why or anything like that, but she just feels like she needs to solve this case. These dreams and nightmares are haunting her. She can't live a normal life. And so her, Finney, and God, what is that
Ernesto,
other
right?
kid's name? Ernesto. Is that what it is? That
I think so.
Armando. No,
Armando.
not Armando.
Fernando.
Ernesto. You're so right. Um Sorry. That was the other guy. So the sister, Finney, and Ernesto all apply to be counselors at this Christian camp, and the worst blizzard of all time hits, and they're actually just stranded there for a while. The camp is closed down, and the grabber, Ethan Hawke, makes his return, does his best Freddy Krueger impression, and haunts the living shit out of everyone at that camp, including the sister, including Finney, including Ernesto. Anyone that's trying to help him out, he is an invisible ghost that is wielding an axe and hacking people up, dragging people across the ice. He's doing anything and everything using his supernatural powers to basically get revenge for ending his life. And he really wants revenge on Finney, so he's targeting Finney's sister. And luckily, Finney's sister is like Professor Xavier and just can use her mind powers to basically end up killing the grabber again. And
Right.
her and Finney
Right.
team up to do that. And honestly, it ends on a very sweet note. It seems like they killed the grabber. They seem to still have some sort of connection to the afterlife because at the end of the movie, um, Finney's sister answers a call from their mother. But yeah, overall, was a good movie. Not better than the first, but it was fine.
See, I think it was a lot closer to the first than you probably do, but I don't think it was better. I did rewatch most of the first movie just to refresh my memory a little bit, but I did like how they didn't necessarily shy away and just go completely away from the grabber at all. I mean, he's still just the main antagonist, and I like how they kind of altered the structure of the movie, I guess, to make it a lot more supernatural and allow him to still be that guy. But I don't think you like that, right? Just the supernatural stuff.
Yeah, I think that was my main gripe. So my main gripe with the sequel, again, it wasn't a bad movie. It just wasn't as great as the first one to me. The first one, it was for me, a thriller slash horror. It was the thriller of this serial killer, this kidnapper, Ethan Hawke's character, the grabber, taking all these different kids, and then the supernatural element in that movie was, of course, the black phone on the basement wall, where Finney would answer the calls and learn different things from these kids' ghosts in the past, as to little different tricks that eventually help him escape the grabber and kill him.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool build-up, a really cool use of that supernatural element, but at the end of the day, it was more grounded in reality, whereas this one was a full-on Freddy Krueger type film.
So
right?
it was, but I think it's more of an homage to overall horror in general. I think there was a lot of different themes that they really emphasized a lot. Like, I wrote down some other connections. Obviously, the Freddy Krueger thing is the biggest one that everyone's gonna latch onto. And I did see this comment on like Letterboxd that Nightmare on Elm Street has not been relevant for a while. So if Ethan Hawke wants to step in and be Freddy Krueger, that's cool with a lot of people. But I've never really watched I actually just started to watch the original Nightmare on Elm Street just to kind of get some frame of reference. And there's like a couple scenes in there that are carbon copies. Like, she's getting the first victim of that movie gets levitated and like thrown across a room, and she's like profusely bleeding while getting killed in like her dreams or whatever. But also, like, we have Friday the 13th elements too, with it being like a summer camp, or I guess this was a winter camp.
Yeah.
But that same element, it's in the woods.
Winter Christian camp.
Winter, The Shining, it's kind of abandoned. There's only 3 people there that we know who came to the camp, and then there's the one Christian couple, and then the pastor, I think, and then no one, and then like the one park ranger girl. I don't know what her title was, but she was there. So a very small sense of characters. I know The Shining is literally just the 3. It's Jack Torrance, his wife, and his kid, and then a shit ton of ghosts. But then Scream as well. So I said Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream with the phone calls, obviously. But I think that's obviously in the first one too. I mean, you get the homage. He is like intentionally fucking with Finney over the phone and Gwen over the phone when she picks up as well. And honestly, Sinister too, with the way that she's seeing those dreams. It's the same, and it's made by Blumhouse. So it's the same production, I believe, as Sinister and the first Black Phone. We already talked about the director, so I think that those all look pretty similar. And I wrote The Conjuring too, but that's like a loose connection, just the levitation and stuff. I don't know.
Just every possible horror movie it was an homage to.
Exactly, but at the same time, I don't think it was trying to pretend like it wasn't doing that per se. Like, I think the grabber's character is just so iconic at this point in the new era of horror. I think he's become this Michael Myers-esque being that brings a lot of like wow factor. At least the scene when Gwen finally figures out where the grabber is inside, like, she knows that he might be in this trance state, but when he first appears and like holds his arms out to her in the kitchen, I was fucking terrified.
Yeah, like appearing out of the shadows.
Yeah, I thought that was a really, really good scene. And I do agree that the first movie was more terror or thriller versus horror, but this one had me nervous as hell for a lot of the dream states. Definitely, there were a lot of just uneasy moments, and that was almost half the movie, or these Gwen, or is it Gwen or Gwen? I think it's Gwen, but nonetheless, I just think whenever she's going through it in those scenarios, Gwen, it's just very effective to me. And I just didn't think there were really many dull points to this movie in general, and I liked it a lot. I think this movie was like one of the better movies of the year, honestly. I don't think it was the best movie, but I would probably put it up there with like my top 5, top 10 of the year, which I know it's not saying a ton, but I did like it a lot.
Where would you rank it though? Like, what's
Weapons?
this movie better than that?
Oh, better than? I liked this movie. I liked this movie more than Sinners, but I know a lot of people won't because it's not the original. Like the original Black Phone, I think is definitely better than Sinners. I would say that's my personal opinion. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people will disagree with that because Sinners is a really interesting plot, and I do think it was a good movie. But I just liked the Black Phone 2 more. I was for sure more scared of the repercussions of what the grabber was going to do. I kind of was a little disappointed at how little kill count he had in this movie, though. It seemed like he was going to just wipe out everyone at
Yeah.
this camp besides Gwyn, probably. I honestly thought like Finney would probably die or something, but he doesn't end up
I
killing
mean,
like
did he
any.
kill anyone?
Nah, I don't think so. I really don't.
Yeah. He hurt
Um,
some people, but
well, we see him kill like three children in a flashback. Which
well,
again,
yeah.
he was
Yeah.
was like that. That
But I
was the
meant in his like Freddy Krueger state.
no, not in like the present day portion of the movie. He didn't really kill anybody that I can remember. So that was a little weird because he was doing a lot of that in the first one. But overall, I just thought it was a good movie. I would definitely want to watch this again. And it just made me want to go back and like rewatch the first one because they do tie so closely. There's a lot of references to the first movie as well. I would almost recommend just watching these back to back so you have those in your mind as you're going forward because they do reference like some of the victims from the first movie, but I liked it. I
Yeah.
thought it was good.
And I mean the grabber's whole motive this movie was literally to get revenge on Finney for killing him.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
why he's targeting his sister. He's like, "You made me kill my brother. I'm going to kill someone you love."
Yeah, and he also targeted the sister by explaining to her what happened to their mom, which was another cool little wrinkle that they threw in because his dad, Finney's dad, is like borderline worse than the grabber at some points in the first movie, and then he gets a little full circle moment with his kids, and he seems to
Yeah.
been sort of right the ship in terms of his his own
I
morale.
didn't realize that was Faraday from Lost.
No, I didn't know that either. He's got a lot. His costume work changes a bunch during all these flashbacks and stuff. But he's just kind of like that deadbeat drunk dad in the first movie, like abusive and just a piece of shit. Doesn't believe anything that Gwen does. But I liked how they kind of tied that all together. But let's talk more about the characters because
That was
that was
I was
what?
just going to say that was a crazy reveal when they find out the mother didn't kill herself. Mm-hmm. That was
Yeah.
insane.
And I didn't think it was like it was definitely not too far of a stretch. They left that stone unturned in the first movie. We just kind of see more into their whole upbringing because Finney and Gwen are both like good kids. They're not troublemakers really. Like Finney we see him in the first movie. He's getting bullied. He watches that not the bully of the school, but like one of the tough kids at the school beat the fuck out of one of the bullies at the school, and he picks up that exact quote from him. He's like, you gotta make some more blood to like get more of a reaction from the crowd. That's a direct
Yeah.
correlation. But I liked that stuff. I just think this movie had a lot of good direction when they wrote it. I just don't think it was it just didn't feel thrown together to me, which a lot of these horror sequels do, especially after one. I honestly don't think they should make a third one.
That's
That's what I was gonna kind of ask
I
you.
hope they don't. To be honest, I didn't think they needed to make a sequel. I think that was my whole thing going into the movie. Like I said, I didn't think it was a bad movie. I just didn't really think the first one needed a sequel. As you were saying though, I think the grabber
do.
has become such an icon, especially in today's horror world. I mean, the character is fucking sick. Ethan Hawke is amazing. The mask is terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't think they needed a sequel. I don't think they did a bad job with this one, but I definitely don't think they need to make a third one.
No,
like where
no,
the fuck
they
would they go
don't.
there?
They don't, but I do think the sequel played really well. I think this was like a really solid horror movie. It's one of the better horror movies I've seen. It's probably the second best horror movie of this year, behind Weapons. But it's not close to Weapons. Like there's probably a tier gap there. and it's probably a lot scarier than Weapons, I would say.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff we could get into there. But let's talk a little bit more about the characters because I didn't like Gwen as much in this one. I think she does a good job portraying that character. She's kind of the lead character in this movie, and I did like how they didn't.
I would 100% say she is the lead.
She is, and Finney is still there. He's a main focal point as well, but it's more so about her and her ability to see into this trance-like state, this other dimension where the grabber exists, and that all really connected for me and made a lot of sense. I just think her character in the first movie was a lot more impactful. Maybe it was because she was younger, so when she's going through these she's talking to the cops constantly about trying to locate the grabber's house, and she's getting into fights with her dad about stuff, and you just really empathize with her. Oh my gosh, I must have emphasized, but you do, and I think she's good. I don't think she's some character mold we haven't seen before. I'm not really thinking of any off the top of my head, but there's a lot of like tough lead actresses in horror movies. It's not anything new. I mean, Scream is probably like a good example. Look at any of like the main girl protagonists in Scream. It's kind of similar. It's just she has this like Lorraine Warren type ability, or that's probably not the best comparison.
I'd say it's more than that. She was fucking up the grabber in her dream state.
Yeah, yeah, and it's cool. It's just like a neat little intricacy that they had this like they had this really neat idea from the first one, and they don't fully explain how she got these powers. Then we're like, oh, her mom had these. Oh, her mom was killed by the grabber. No wonder he's so fixated on Finney, first of all. No wonder he's so fixated on Gwen because Finney killed him. Like, that all makes perfect sense to me. And Finney's a great character. Like, that's kind of where I was going with that. I think Finney as the lead is just a little better. I think Mason Thames is a very good actor, and he does a very good job at. I mean, first of all, he's like a lot bigger. They both grew up, obviously. Puberty is definitely real.
He rode a dragon.
Yeah, and like I think his whole his whole thing with like smoking and trying to forget everything played very well. I know like some people don't smoke weed and might not really fathom why he was doing that, but to just try and forget the dark shit that he went through is totally understandable.
Yeah, numb the pain.
And it also played out. We talked about this offline, but like that always initiated these dream states from Gwen. They were playing into one another because Finney has this need to go and like forget his dark things from his past, and then that just sets off Gwen because he's not there to like protect her in those states. Like she has probably what like 5 to 8 dreams during this movie where she's sleepwalking and getting herself in danger. But again, Finney's still like he deeply loves her and cares about her and all that, and it just creates like this ongoing problem, where he doesn't fully grasp it, but it does help that he's there because he understands what the grabber is and stuff. And yeah, and Ernesto was a nice little touch too. I didn't think he was a bad character.
Yeah, and he proved to be useful.
Yeah, no, he was.
I thought he was going to just be a side character that was interested in Gwen and end up getting killed, but I mean, he did his part, looking out for Gwen as best as he could. I thought the dynamic between Finney and Gwen was great. As you were mentioning, Finney's character, he's just very protective, especially because of all the things that have happened in his past. It makes sense that he is aggressive and overly protective of Gwen. But at the same time, he almost wants to change, but he just can't. Like, the past trauma is continuing to haunt him day in, day out, which is why he's taking all those smoke breaks.
Right.
But I think my biggest gripe with the characters is just Gwen's character as a whole. I thought she was fine this movie. It's just the powers that they gave her. Maybe that's more tied to the writing, but I just didn't like the fact that Gwen was so powerful in her dream state. It almost seemed like a cop out. Like the last half of the movie, she's manhandling the grabber in her dreams, and it's like, I mean, I guess we needed it to get to the point to where they could kill the grabber in the
Mhm.
afterlife, but like they just threw that out there out the blue.
Yeah.
It's like Finney has one conversation with her about, hey, it's your dream. Do what you want. She's like, you know what, fuck it. I am gonna have a lucid dream. And I am gonna tell myself I have powers and beat the living shit out of the grabber. And
Right.
it just happens.
It just plays. I think that's a fair point. I think it just was supposed to play into her character. She's a little more skittish. She hasn't actually dealt with the grabber face to face. Like she wasn't captive at any point. And she's the younger sister. I mean, she's going up against this very
Yeah, that's true.
notorious figure. But I understand where you're coming from there. And we already talked about the dad. I think he was a good add in there. I mean, I didn't really like how they just threw in this Christian couple to like rip on them for no reason. I don't know. I didn't really see the point of those characters other than to just throw in some like jokes about how they were like going to bed at 10 o'clock and not concerned with like the devil, the girl that had like the devil inside of her. Um,
Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly. Like
I
the
just
longest tenured people at the Christian camp, the most uber Christians alive, and they're like, Satan's here? Let me turn this way.
yeah, it was that was a little farcy to me, but there weren't too many characters which I like. There was literally no backstory with the other people at the camp too. Like we had the pastor or the head pastor. He seemed to be like the leader of that group, and then we had the park ranger girl who
Armando.
Finney. Yeah, the girl who like Finney clearly wants to get in her pants, but then that's I just didn't really understand like all the creation of all those characters. Like they probably weren't completely necessary. You could have had. I just think they should have been more fodder for the plot. Like have the crabber probably kill a couple of them, honestly. But
I
whatever.
mean, I was expecting Armando to die on the ice lake, and I thought the Christian couple was going to get hacked to pieces by the grabber when he was
Wayne
pirouetting around
Gretzky.
the ice.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, no, everyone ended up surviving. I guess the cool thing about Armando was that he did have that direct relation with Finney and Gwen's mom. Like he knew her at the
Mhm.
camp, and he knew that she was special, I guess, in a way.
Yeah,
Um,
that was just sort of like plot
but
armor to
still,
me.
I
That
definitely expected more people to die.
right, right. I think we could probably go to cinematography because I think this was the best part of the movie. Obviously, the
Shining light.
VHS, dude, the VHS cutscenes every time Gwen is in her dream state. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So fucking awesome how they did this. They didn't even do this in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, from what I've seen so far. I haven't watched the whole movie, but so cool how they did that. It was just very very effective. And honestly, those scenes were kind of repetitive. She wakes up after having a dream about one of the grabbers, from the grabber's point of view, like straight out of Sinister, where you're seeing a horrific homicide. Then she wakes up and she's just in this pixelated trance, and it's so eerie and very very scary. Like every time that happened, I was like clenching my ass a little bit. Pause.
Yeah,
But I thought it was so well
that
done.
yeah, that
And
was
it
kind
was
of cool.
a very simple thing to do, but like I said, it was like over probably half the movie were those dream states, and I thought it just added a really nice touch to it.
Yeah, the pixelated VHS blurry dream state sequences were the shining light of this movie. I thought it was really cool because I feel like in every horror movie you watch, there are those dream state sequences, and it's followed by, or it's ended with a jump scare, right? Like you they're waking up, things don't seem real, but it's all filmed the same way. So you're like, is this a dream? Is it not? You slowly start to realize it's a dream, and then they hit you with that jump scare, and then the person wakes up. This movie, it tells you straight away, Gwen is dreaming right now. Like, she is in her dream state. This is what's going on. But I still thought they made it super scary. They throw in the jump scares in there. And then the tie-in with what's actually going on. When Gwen encounters the grabber first time face to face in that kitchen, she's getting thrown around, blasted back into pots and pans, thrown into the fridge. And you're almost wondering, okay, this is happening in her dream state. What does it look like to the outside person? And they literally give you that scene. Everyone runs in there when they hear her screaming and all the commotion, and she's literally getting picked up in the air, thrown around, and everyone's going like, "What the fuck?" Like, the Christian couple probably like shit themselves, yeah. But I thought that was a really nice touch, and definitely one of the better things throughout this movie, the way they filmed those dream sequences.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it doesn't hurt that it's at a creepy summer camp, or I said that twice. It's at a creepy camp, and it's in the barren, like, woods, which is a typecast setting for a horror movie. Like we've talked about, they did that with, like, Bring Her Back. That was the last one where we really talked about that like, typecast setting almost. But it's very effective, as we know. Like, we probably should nerf the way we look at it in that sense, because, like, half the movies at nighttime, they're just doing it to make it more creepy, and it's very effective.
Yeah.
And just the ringing of the phone too. It's not even really annoying when I'm watching it, even though it's ringing. Like I said, it probably happens 20 times where that phone is fucking ringing, but I'm never like, oh my god, like, this is dumb. Like, they've done this already. It's almost like teasing you of in Insidious, where they're like showing you a jump scare that looks like it's going to happen, or The Conjuring, and then it doesn't actually happen. But they're just doing that with the phone. You know eventually that the grabber is going to pick up and do something crazy, but they really...
Or that eventually Finney's going to pick up. I think they intentionally make that phone ring annoying, because it's supposed to be annoying for Finney. Anytime he walks past a payphone, it's ringing because some kid is like, please solve my missing child case. And Finney's like, nah, I can't help you. I can't help you. Okay, which is eventually why that phone rings for 25 seconds nonstop, and it's like, goddamn, Finney, please just pick up the fucking phone, man.
Right. But for me, I wasn't ever annoyed with it. I was just anticipating something crazy to eventually happen, which it does, you know? It's very... Yeah. It's so effective, and it's so simple. It's just a phone ringing. That's literally all it is. It doesn't cost a lot at all.
Well, on top of that, too, not in a million years is Finney expecting to pick up that phone and hear the grabber's voice on the other side. He's constantly thinking it's children that need help. And he's just like, no, I can't help it. Like, I'm trying to escape this past. And then he finally picks up the phone, and it's the grabber's voice, and that past he's trying to smoke away this whole time is right at his doorstep.
Right, yeah.
And beating the living shit out of his little sister.
Right. That scene was the defining moment of the movie for me, when he just reappears in the kitchen. It was just so fucking awesome. I went back and just rewatched
it was like he was like Jesus reborn walking out.
Yeah.
But
the opposite. Yeah. For sure. For sure. Let's just kind of talk about the writing, I guess, because there's a lot to probably get into here. You touched on the consistencies with just the grabber involving himself with living people wasn't consistent enough for me. It started that way, and in that main point, or that climax point when he appears in the kitchen, at that point I thought that movie was on par, if not better, than the first one, because I thought that he was only going to be able to hurt her, which her being Gwen.
Yes.
And then we see that he can still kind of like hurt other people, but then when he actually when he spins her though and like slices her throat, and she's just like doing a full like 720,
blood spraying everywhere.
I was like, how is she not dead? You know what I mean? Like, how does she not die there? How how does the Christian couple not die when they get hatcheted in the face by him, like going 20 miles an hour by them on the ice? That didn't really make any sense. We talked about Armando not dying in the hypothermia thing in the lake. I mean, that's probably the most believable one, I guess. I think honestly all of them just should have died. But I don't think it would have been smart to kill Gwen off at that point in the movie either, because then they would have had no way to go back into that state. You know, I just think that those weren't really
Yeah.
that consistent.
Yeah, I guess I had the same thought process as you on this. As I was watching the movie, I was wondering if the grabber could actually harm anyone else besides Gwen. Because, of course, he was harming Gwen in the dream state, which was impacting her real body. But when he ran up on Armando, when Armando was searching for kids in the lake, and the grabber is smashing the the ice as Armando is smashing the ice, I was like, okay, maybe the grabber can't actually physically interact and hurt these other people, which is why he was just giving a little extra tap to the ice to make Armando fall through.
Yeah,
But then he ends up just skating and pulling up right on that Christian couple and hitting the dude in the side with a hatchet and dragging him along the ice. So I'm
yeah,
like, why didn't he just hatchet Armando in the back of the head and let him sink into the water, and then that would have been it for Armando?
right.
That's
That
one
would have.
person he can get rid of right there.
I had the same thoughts during that whole point, because that's really when it shifts. From that point forward, he's not able to. From what we've seen, he's not able to do anything. Because when he's in that kitchen
Right.
too, he still has like two weapons, and no one can see him. So I think they should have just stayed on that route where he can only hurt Gwynny, because it makes way more sense. And it's still terrifying because she is personally in so much danger until they're able to recover these bodies from the lake and kill him. And the other thing is too, they only show them recovering two of the bodies from the lake, and then once they're above the surface, it's not like he lost any powers. I was sort of assuming this would turn into like a Voldemort situation where the more Horcruxes you kill from Voldemort, like the less powerful he gets, and that sort of deal. But it's not really. It doesn't really give him any less power. He's seemingly the same being that he was before, and then they just actually kill him, and that's that. But then the whole movie.
I mean,
just saying,
the like, yeah,
No,
the bodies of the children that pop up just end up like grabbing him and kind of halting him from approaching Finney or Gwen towards the end. They like grab him from out the ice. But yeah, that whole thing was a little weird. Honestly, I still don't understand why. Like, they breeze over the fact that the lake was frozen over, so they never searched in the lake. But I don't know. That seems a little crazy to me.
yeah, that is crazy. I mean, they kind of mask that whole problem with the Christian couple just denying that it ever happened, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But you're also going to hear about that. They're showing flashbacks with a lot of kids at this camp, and then if one of them is just brutally murdered one day and doesn't show up for like breakfast at the lodge, they're going to be like, "Where's Jimmy?" "Oh, yeah, he got murdered last night." Those kids aren't going to go tell their parents and be like, "Well, what the fuck is going on? Like, what am I sending my kids to?" That didn't really make any sense either. So there were definitely a lot of a lot of plot holes. The more I'm thinking about it, I mean, I didn't write down a good rating for the writing as is, but we got to call these out.
Yeah, and I think probably one of my biggest gripes with the writing was just the overly aggressive the one-liners that Gwen would throw at anyone and everyone. Just like, "I'm gonna fuck you with a dinosaur dick" or something like that. It's like, come on.
Yeah,
Did a 10-year-old write these? Like, what are we doing?
they were corny. No, it was probably someone that was just born in that time period and found those funny. I mean, they definitely weren't landing at all, but that to me didn't like make or break the movie. I just think they got a little lazy with how they wrapped everything up. But honestly, up until like a good portion of that movie, like I said, that kitchen scene happened, I was like, this is fucking amazing, because they've already teased, two or three of these trance states, and they're trying to like find the grabber, and then he's revealed in this crazy way, and then
Yeah.
it kind of mellows out from that point forward. I mean, we still get some creepy scenes afterwards, and then I loved the scene at the end where she's talking to her mom. Also, like, why couldn't Finney just like stand in the phone booth with her and listen to her mom too? That was a
Put it
little
on
fucked up.
speakerphone, man. I don't
Yeah.
know. I know payphones don't do that, but they can both hug it.
Payphones also don't work when the cord is cut and they're not in service, So
When the payphone's in the middle of nowhere, like what is that connected to?
Right.
What was that ever connected to?
yeah, why wasn't that just destroyed when the payphone was disconnected? That's probably what would happen in all those cases, but then we wouldn't have the black phone too. But nonetheless, I mean, I thought this was a good movie. We could probably do our scores now, unless you have anything more you want to add. But
Let's do the scores, yeah.
okay, so entertainment, I went 8.5.
Entertainment, I went 7.5.
Characters, I went 7.2.
Characters, I went 7.7.
Cinematography, I went 9.2.
Cinematography, I went 8.5.
Writing, I went 6.2.
Okay, writing, I went 6.5.
Okay. So that gives us a final score of a 7.7 for the Black Phone. And Black Phone 2, sorry. We haven't reviewed the Black Phone 1, but I think that would probably... I mean, it would definitely score higher for me. The only things that...
Yeah,
I was just really obsessed with this whole VHS trance state. I just think that was such a cool idea. And I get that I understand that they're taking this Freddy Krueger idea, but... I don't know, man. I just thought it looked so... It was just so effective. They basically just, like, combined Sinister and the Nightmare of Elm Street and just, like, added another layer to the grabber. Whereas in these other slashers, it's like Jason Voorhees is stabbed 60 times and then just reemerges from that lake. And we're like, oh, all right, he's just this invincible being. And the grabber is invincible for the most part. But it's just a better story, and the first one is so good. It really has those neat supernatural elements to it, and I liked how they just did not go away from that. And it seems like they just had this plan in mind when they made the first one, and that's why I liked it.
No, and I mean, Sinister is definitely a great comp. I mean, I'm just realizing Scott Derrickson is the one that directed Sinister, the first one. Yeah. So that makes complete sense because, as you were saying, those like VHS style shots, especially when it's showing the kids, the missing kids, those three kids.
Those aren't even
those
VHS,
are fantastic,
though.
and one to or
those are like
whatever.
Those are
film,
like projector.
What is that?
I would say those are just like old school projector style.
Oh yes, like the yes.
Like the film,
just like in Sinister,
right. But
the film reels.
When Gwen is in her dream state, they're just shooting it in like 240.
Dream state.
Yeah, they're just shooting it in like two. What did I say? Dream sense.
No, dream state.
What did I say?
I don't even know, but I was assuming you were saying dream sequence.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I meant to say. But those, I think they just muffled the quality and they muffled the sound obviously a little bit. But it wasn't shot on like a...
It's like they put wax paper, super thin wax paper over the lens or something. That's how it felt like it was shot.
Or they just mixed it in lower quality, honestly, is what they... I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to how they did that, but I don't think it was expensive whatsoever, and it was very, very cool.
No.
But, yeah, I mean, I could keep talking about that for hours. We like the Black Phone 2 for the most part. I mean, 7.7 is a pretty good score. Go check out all of our scores on our website. That'll be linked in our YouTube. And thanks for listening. We'll be back next Tuesday with another one. And peace out.
Deuces.